Oh, Brad. The money has to be talking this weekend for the NFC and AFC championship games. Welcome in to Less Talk, More Action with a little money talks from ACDC because the money has been talking at Less Talk, More Action .live. Welcome in, everybody. We have your NFC AFC championship preview show. I'm your host, Trevor Lutke, joined with my co-host, Brad Shoulders. Brad, I've had a big playoff run, especially when it comes to picking the NFL games and teasing. Unfortunately, our lowly Vikings didn't have the kind of luck that my sports plays have been producing.
No, I saw that, and I also saw the podcast from last week with my son. You guys did a great job, and you threw me over the coals on my pick, which you should. I have a bad pick. I own it. It was bad, But I tell you, I just never dreamt Sam Darnold would lay 2 eggs in a row, 2 weeks in a row. So let's take him out to the hen house and shoot him. He's done.
Well, we don't promote violence here at Let's Talk More Action, but that comes from my co-host, Brad, who's very frustrated at the Vikings' current situation. But the only good thing is you have J.J. McCarthy. I think he's up waiting in the wings for next season, correct?
That's all this season was about, was get him healthy. And Sam Darnold was supposed to tread water, maybe get him to 500 and wait for McCarthy next year. So he got to sit on the sidelines. He got to watch Darnold in this offense. And he's got to be licking his chops thinking, man, if O'Connell can do that with Donald, what's he going to do with me, J.J. McCarthy? I think he might be Jaden Daniels 2.0 next year. Not the runner that he is, but he's probably equal on the passing side.
I mean, it was a fascinating season. Unfortunately, I know you had to work last week, but yes, we do own our plays and picks here at Let's Talk More Action. I owned my side of the book last week. For me, I was 3-5 on the prop plays that I gave you, so I lost 2. Can't be 100%, but what I will tell you is I picked every game last weekend correctly on my teasers. I was 5 for 5 if I include the Ohio State, taking that down to -1. The week before that, I was 4 for 4. So when it comes to my teasers, I'm on an absolute heater. And what's interesting is when we talk about teasing and things that it'll do for your bank account is the Chiefs' final line went to 9. They took a late safety. A lot of people, like my father, they were pissed because he didn't tease it. He pushed it. He was frustrated. He was upset. In the meantime, I just sat back. I never worried once about the situation the Chiefs were in because I knew the one was good pretty much all the way through. And then the only game that really Levi and I had brought into question was the Rams game. And right before the game started, I was like, gotta have a little action on Sunday. So I took the Rams up to 13, never really worried about that too much. So then, of course, I had the Bills, took them up to 8.5, never worried about that for a minute because they never really trailed by that much in the game at all. So I've been feeling pretty good about my plays, but I will tell you what, this weekend has me slightly concerned.
It's funny you say that because as you ran through your winning streak, which is phenomenal, great job.
Thanks.
The more I look at this board between these 2 games here, I'm having trouble finding an angle with the teasers either way. I mean, it is a scary weekend. So what if I was you, as hot as you've been and the bankroll that you're, creating, I might just sit back and chill this weekend, put a little bit on something just because you're going to be watching it. But, just sit back and don't blow the stack this weekend because these games are going to be, they're pretty tough to call in my eye.
So I think you just hit on something. We're going to get into this. We're going to show you our plays. We're going to get into this. Again, this podcast is about a 25, 30-minute segment. We got the Illinois-Maryland game behind us. Brad's a huge Illinois fan. I'm really not. We're bankrupt and corrupt in the state. So I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, so I'm a Badger fan. But, yes, I do have my eye on this because Brad and I threw a little fantasy lineup together, and right now it's looking pretty good. So we're going to probably try to get out of here to watch the second half. So we're going to keep this show tight, but we are going to give you a couple prop plays. We're going to give you our picks on the games at the end, and then give you the teaser, which we will hopefully deliver on at the end of the show. But we're going to start with one thing quick, because both of us kind of had been discussing this. But to this point in the playoffs, Brad, there's been a lot of different storylines. Is there one thing, other than the Commanders obviously getting there? I mean, there's a remarkable run that they've had. But outside of that right now, is there a storyline that stands out to you that you're kind of like, hey, I either didn't expect this or I expected this, and there's something that's caught your eye throughout this playoff season so far?
Probably nothing more than the Lions shitting themselves, taking a flop.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
the injuries caught up to them. I get it, but boy, they talked a big game. I've been watching the Lions all year. I mean, they're good. They blow out bad teams like they should. But at the end of the day, they're like everybody else in the NFL. The one thing that separates them is that damn Jameer Gibbs. He
Yep.
reminds me of Tyreek Hill. So the fact that they had him on their roster compared to some of the other teams, the Vikings and even, the Commanders, whoever else that's in the NFC playoffs, he was the one thing that separated them from the other teams. But their defense just could not stop the Redskins. If you were watching that game, man, it was like,
Well, the Commanders, but yeah.
it's in the back of my brain a little bit, the
Mindset.
Redskins. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is they could not stop the Commanders on any freaking series. It was wonderful to watch, really. I enjoyed watching it. It was, Daniels is the real deal right now, and I think the Bears got to be kicking themselves for not taking him instead of taking Caleb Williams. I don't know.
Right.
I'm not a Bear fan,
Right.
but that's what I'll be thinking. But just Detroit, flopping here. I mean, everyone had them just dancing all the way to the Super Bowl and probably handing it to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they don't even get out of their first game. So it was
I
entertaining.
mean, yeah, and to your point that Jaden Daniels, 3,568 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I mean, a remarkable rookie season.
How many rushing
And
yards that,
right, in rushing yards, 148 carries, almost 900 yards, 6 touchdowns. So, I mean, he does it with his legs. He does it through the air. I find this game fascinating. So, what my storyline is, though, is this. The NFL, to me, has a problem. It's Trevor's tantrum. It's like the T squared. I like to throw a tantrum every once in a while. Yeah, but I'm not taking a timeout. I think the NFL here's the only problem. I think the NFL has one problem coming up. There's too many damn flags that are being thrown in all these games. It is slowing the pace of the game down. It's frustrating as a fan to watch. I don't care even so much about the commercials, whatever. I mean, they got to market it. They got to make their money. But man, inside the game flow, it is just abysmal right now. And last season, when you look, the amount of flags that were being thrown on average was like 6.5 to 7. It's gone up a flag per game in the NFL season this year. And I just think the NFL's got it. And here's the thing. I don't know. I don't know. Like we've talked about with the NCAA and the NIL deals. I like it. I did like the 12-team format. I thought it was a decade too late. Some people weren't happy with it, whatever. I thought it was awesome. I think now that you're watching the NCAA make some of these transitions, I don't know about you, but I think the NFL's got something. They got to do something because these flags are just getting on my nerves and it's slowing the pace and tempo of the game down.
I mean, you're 100% correct. And can someone please define pass interference to me? Because I have no clue what it is. No clue. Because they call it one time and the next time it's even more obvious and they don't call it. I don't understand. They got to look at pass interference in the offseason and say, listen, here are the rules for pass interference. And this is how we're calling it moving forward because it's like 50-50, The stuff I think is a flag and then it's not. So that frustrates me. I'm with you on the penalties, man.
It is, and I just want to throw a flag on the penalty flag. So, anyways, if you guys don't care, what our audience wants is what's the plays for this weekend. That's what they want. So we're going to give you that, but I'm sure our audience feels just as frustrated as we do right now sometimes with the flow of these games. But the flow of the first game, 47.5 over under. The Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles for the NFC Championship Sunday, 2 p.m. on Fox. I think this is going to be a great game. I think both games are actually going to be really, really exciting. Would I have liked to see the Lions there in this position? Absolutely. But hey, this quarterback and this kid, Jaden Daniels, is the real deal in my mind. So we're going to try to find you a couple plays inside these two games over the next 10 minutes. Brad, where are you starting with this? If we're looking at this game first at 2 o'clock, when you're probably sitting down for your first Woodford Reserve, what are you thinking may be the flow?
For your teas, man, to try to keep you hot. I'm going to take the Commanders getting 12 and a half. In two reasons. I think Daniels can keep the game close just on his playmaking. I think he can keep it close. And let's just say it's a 19-point game late. They could come hit a scratch touchdown and you get the backdoor cover. 12 and a half points in an AFC NFC championship game is a hell of a lot of points. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I'm at with it. I like the Commanders getting 12 and a half.
Okay. So here's my thing. Do you have any prop or anything like that as I'm in this? Because I want another angle from you here, which our audience I think really needs to hear, because I think I found something that's really intriguing, and I think our audience will enjoy this. I guess maybe the analysis that I have for it, because I found something I think inside the game I like. Is there any prop plays though before I get into that you think maybe you'd want to touch on?
I've got one, but I want to hear what you have to say because you're the better prop better because it may influence me. So let's hear
Well,
what
I'm
you
not
got.
gonna. Here's the thing: is I just play a few more props, but I'm going to go back to this before I move into this. To Brad's point, I have, and you can go back and rewind and watch our shows at Let's Talk More Action.live. You can go back on our show at Let's Talk More Action 1 on TikTok, and then Let's Talk More Action at YouTube, and see the plays that we've given you throughout the playoffs, because our shows are live. They're not pre-recorded. This is coming to you live. And you can always go back and take a look at the action that we had given you and the plays that we'd given you, hold us accountable for those. But I have been hitting all of my teasers and all of my plays. Some people would be frustrated with the approach that I'm taking. And the reason is they always want to check in on us, Brad. They always want to check in. Are you guys having fun on FanDuel yet? Yes, we love you. We love you. Here's the thing: a lot of people are like, they don't like to tease, they want to play them straight up, they don't know, they want to parlay them. And some people would, my approach has been, I've hit a lot of these straight as well, but there's been a few that I would have needed the tease that I incorporated to win these plays that I had. And the other thing is, I've been sitting comfortably back winning these teasers because I've never really been in jeopardy on either side. If I took the dog, I had a lot of points to work with. If I had the favorite, I was usually winning by a large margin. So I was never really concerned about how the line was progressing. Here's what I found. We'll get to your finishing and how you're going to do this. Now, how do you feel? Give me the idea that you have. Again, we don't go through this. We don't rehearse the show. Give me the idea of what you think the score could be at the end of this game.
That's a tough one too because it's going to come down to Hurts. What's his condition? When these guys matched up here about 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was like 36-33. But that was with Philly having a more open offense because they couldn't rely on the rushing of the quarterback. So my thing is, I need to know what Hurts' status is. Have you seen the latest on him tonight?
Yeah, he's
Do you know
playing. They just released it. He's gonna play for sure.
Okay.
100% go.
He's bruised MCL. I mean, you're more of a medical guy than me. What is he going to be effective trying to run a ball with a bruised MCL? I
Well,
mean,
and this is where I'm going with this. If you like the Commanders and you want to play something straight up, this is where I'm going with this. Is if you think that the Eagles are in jeopardy, maybe of turning the ball over once or twice or making a mistake, the Washington Commander total right now in points is only 20 and a half. And if you're with Brad and you're like, oh, I don't know about the teaser. I don't know how this game, I don't know. They could get blown out. You're feeling that, but you're like, man, I want to have something. 20 and a half points for this team. This team has been electric over the last 6 to 8 weeks. And I think, Brad, 20 and a half, basically at minus 110 to me is a really, really solid number that I think goes over the total. And in this situation, I think you could be sitting at 14 at the end of the first half or 17. And you're like, man, I just need one score in the second half. And I got this thing in the bank.
I like it. I like it. That's like I said, these two matched up, I want to say like 4 weeks ago, and 70 some
Yep.
points. It's everyone's thinking defense, defense. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I can't tell you any of that kind of stuff, but
And
I can tell you there is nobody hotter with the football in their hands right now than Jaden Daniels. Now, is that going to transpire into a win? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the guy can put some points on the board, and he's going to do that. So I like your angle there.
1 unit, 50 for 45, 45
Why not?
is the play that I like. I'm with you. I don't know if you guys want to take a look. Here's Philly's number. Sorry. Philly's total number that, no, I don't want the alternatives. You got to make sure you're paying attention. The total they have is 27 and a half. To Brad's point, if you're a Commanders backer in this situation, I think the 20 and a half serves a really good purpose here to get to it. The weather's actually on Sunday around game time should be about 32 degrees, cloudy, no snow or
That's
wind projected. Yeah.
that's football.
Yeah.
Hey, just to
So
get
here's,
not to interrupt you, but Trevor was talking earlier, you know, in this podcast, he was 3-5 or whatever last weekend. I want to tell everybody in our audience here, because I know we got some new jacks in here. Just to make money in the NFL, wagering all year long, you got to be at like 52.4% on the year to actually remain positive for the year. Guys that think we're going to go on here and go 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, it ain't going to happen every week, man. There's going to be weeks we go 4-0, 5-0, 3-1, stuff like that. But for the most part, if we can keep it above 52, 53%, we're going to make you money. And right now, Trevor's running about a 70% clip, which is really sexy. So listen to this, man. He's
yeah.
he's going to bring you home some winners.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. We'll turn the beer racing light on for that compliment. I thank you for that.
Yeah, people
To
just
your
got to be realistic, man.
And to your point, though, I think here's the one thing I bring up is this is about money management at this point for me. To Brad's point earlier in the show, is why would I want to sit here? These are four of the best teams left in the entire NFL. This is not the time to go empty the vault. It's just not like these. Both of these games are going to be hard to decide. So try to find other angles within the game. Zach Ertz to me. Here's a play that I like, and the reason is Ertz. Remember, he played on the Eagles from 2013 to 2021. He was on the Eagles through all those years. And the thing is he won a Super Bowl with them, if you remember that. I like this here at plus 142. If they're going to be all over Terry McLaurin, 142 on a 1 unit play, $50 for $71 just to go over 40 yards. I think this, I'm looking inside the total. I like this. And then there was one other play that I wanted to show you that I liked. I missed on Devontae Smith last week. I got to come back to him. It's got to be him or AJ Brown. The game script has to change, and Jalen Hurts, I think, is going to have to throw the ball. To your point, if he's got some sort of issue with his knee going on and he's compromised at all, we got to throw. Devontae Smith, I think 50 yards at even money, totally doable. 1 unit, 50 for 50. So these were the plays that I looked at most. Now, to your point of where you don't want to go, and what we were talking, Levi and I, last week, this is insane, Brad. This is insane that I've never seen this before. 125 yards at minus 125. So 50, only paying $40. And Saquon's got to go to the moon and back on one of SpaceX rockets to hit this bet. I just don't like it at this point. It's just, you don't give the house any greater odds than they already have.
No, no, especially if let's just for instance say that Washington gets up a couple scores on them. They're not going to abandon Saquon, but he might turn
Mm-mm.
into more of a receiving threat than a running threat at that point. So you don't want to pay up like you're saying. I mean, you look at any more 125 yards for him is a bad game though. So he is. I'll tell you, he's a stud. The Giants were just freaking stupid, and Philly hit a home run with that free agent signing. But yeah, you just can't pay up like that, though. I mean, it's an obvious. People are like, "Oh, I'm going to take." People are going to keep trying to ride Saquon all the way, in one of these weeks, and it's probably going to be this one. It's going to bite them right in the ass. So, good call on
Yeah.
that. Keeping our guys safe.
Right. We're just trying to say you have to have a little bit of a different approach, I think, to this weekend because, again, you're looking at these games and they are so tight. And Vegas is trying to tell you that you have a 6 point line and you have basically a 1 or 2 point line. It's Vegas is telling you that they don't either. They don't know what way it could go and what Jaden Daniels is going to show up. But the other thing I looked at was one other play before I turn it over to you here for 1 second is when you come in here and you go into receiving props up here at the top. So I was up. I want to go back here on the screen for 1 second. Okay. Sorry to our audience for the delay, but let's go back in the screen. Okay. So I want to go into this bar right here, receiving props. Okay. This is where I'm at. I want you guys just to know where I'm locating it. So it's going to pull down the receiving props. And here's what I'm looking at. I think total receptions. I don't again like to pay money to the house if I don't have to, but if there's one play that I might consider doing it for, it would be this one. I feel like where we're at in the season, Austin Eckler's got to get more involved. Brian Robinson I know he scored 2 touchdowns. It was a mirage last week. I just think he got it at the goal line. But I think Eckler at over 2.5, he's going to have to catch some balls out of the backfield to keep this game close and to keep pressure off of Daniels. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Eckler is a great receiver out of the backfield. Look what he did for the Chargers for years. So I like that
Mm-hmm.
call. Look at him, his longest receiving catch, over 12 and a half yards. Maybe pair it up with that because I was looking at that earlier. He catches a lot of screens and a lot of, he's the safety valve on a lot of catches. And the thing with him is if he catches a little 4 yard pass, he'll turn it into a 15-yard gain, no problem. And that's the other flip side of it. If Philly's trailing, or excuse me, if the Commanders are trailing in this game, what are they going to be doing? They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. And Eckler's an easy safety valve for Daniels. He has been all year long when he's on the field.
And I agree with you. This is going to matter with game script, but knowing that the weather doesn't seem to be all that bad or much of a thing. No snow, no rain, just in the mid 30s. I don't see it being that bad. But I'm with you. I couldn't find much outside of Devontae Smith. Goddard is still considered questionable. I mean, he's going to play, but I mean, I don't know. He's got an ankle issue. But AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, one of the two has to come to the party and I mean, blow out the candles. So it's at some point I think Devontae Smith, I trust a little bit more just to get to that 50. So, do you have anything else before we move to the second game in the AFC Championship game?
No, I'm ready to talk about the next one.
All right, let's do it. So, those are our plays. That's kind of the advice we're thinking. Again, we're not. We're going to watch these games and enjoy them. We're doing this because obviously we live in the state of Illinois and we have the opportunity to make some money on a day like this, enjoy the games, watch them with our families and our friends, but at the same time, you want to have a little bit of action on them. But this is not the time to go absolutely crazy. So let's get.
I tell you, not to interrupt you, but I tell you the one play you need to put the house on, and that is my over on my bowls of chili. I'm going to proud you. It's at 3.5 right now. That's an easy over, man. So put down 20 units on that one.
Uh, okay, yeah. The system was having a problem. But what's the over under? Sorry, what did you put
Three and
your
a half,
own?
3.5 on the bowls of chili that day for me. So I'm
Okay,
playing the over, and I think we'll get there easy.
you
That's
know
the
you'd
beauty
be
of
good.
trying to get to the Super Bowl, 2 games. You got to have a big slow cooker of chili on, man. Come on, work with me.
All right. Well, you would be good in our government because you seem to set the rules and then set the line, and then you'll decide later on whether it was good or favorable for yourself and your family, just kind of like the people in Washington. But anyways, I move on. All right. So the line
Hey,
since the line since I looked at this has gone from 2 to 1.5, and I looked at this literally, I don't know, 40 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. So we've got some money coming in on the Buffalo Bills. So Sunday, 5:30, CBS. AFC Championship game in Kansas City. Weather's not going to be a problem this time around. What are we thinking?
I'm thinking it's finally Josh Allen time to beat the frickin' Chiefs. And I am so tired of watching the Chiefs in the Super Bowl that I am taking Josh Allen. I'm teasing the Bills up to 7.5. I like the
All
fact
right.
I get that get the hook. And I'm ready. The Bills have had many opportunities to do this, and many times I thought they were going to do it. I'm pretty sure this is the year they're going to do it. So I like them. Tease them up with my Commanders plus 12, the Bills plus 7.5. That's where I'm sitting with it.
Okay, so here's what we're going to show you. This is Brad's teaser. So again, when it comes up on the screen, you're taking a look at it. Come down here to teasers. It's right here in the bottom of the box. And this is where we've been making our money. So to Brad's point, 6-point teaser. I feel like these numbers are good enough. If the Bills lose by 7, you win. If the Commanders lose by 12 or less, you win. Could you technically, now this is where we always look, is how much is this money down here that's highlighted? How much is this moving? How much is this moving when I want to go to 6.5? How much is it moving when I go to 7? 13.5. I mean, could you settle on 13 and go 143? Sure. I don't want to go up to 17.5 to get to 14. I just think this is too much house money at minus 163. I think you have a good number at doing what you just need to do at the 6 and leave it there, plus 7.5, and the Commanders at plus 12.5. And Brad, we don't have a really bang the bookie play, I can imagine, this week. We're kind of taking it a little, we toned it down a little bit. But I am in agreement with you that this would be the 2-leg teaser that we would do. And remember, we always do the teaser for 2 units. So it's $100 to pay $75.01, getting 7.5 and 12.5.
I like it based on the way the Bills and the Commanders are both playing to get to this game. Josh Allen's been there before. He's got to be more. He's got to be more frustrated than anybody that's playing right now currently. Because how many times has he beat his head up against the Kansas City Chief wall? He's sick of it. He's sick of hearing about it. He's ready to get over it. And with the Commanders, I mean, they got nothing to lose, man. They're playing with house money. How can they not go in there and keep that game close? There's no way.
I agree. And again, it's about the number. So you could end up, you could actually go down 17 points and get a backdoor cover or something like that if the Commanders go down that much. I do think the Bills keep this game close. I have some fantasy stuff going on, so I'm kind of oddly enough rooting for like the Eagles to still kind of win the game and get on to the Super Bowl. And then I really don't care what happens in the second game. But bottom line is again, this is where in the postseason we have made our money, is doing this for our listeners and our viewers at Let's Talk More Action.live. So I'm in agreement with you, Brad. I think this is the play. I'm going to give you one prop play. If we're thinking the Bills are going to win this game or at least move on to the next round, I'm going to come inside the game, and I think you have to have. So I covered last week, one of my prop plays was Khalil Shakir over 50 yards. He hit that. So I'm going to come back to the Bills again. Where's Amari? But here's the thing. This isn't even my play, but where has Amari Cooper gone?
He's on the back of my milk carton. I seen him for breakfast this morning. That boy is IA. Talk about trading for a freaking piece of coal. That's what they got. I don't get it, but hey, this is what'll happen. The Bills will get in the Super Bowl, and he'll have 3 touchdown catches, and no one will play him on the prop sheet at all. And it's just the way it's setting up, man. But I'm with you. He's MIA, man.
Isn't that, you think how it's going to go? Something weird like that's going to happen. So here's where I'm going. I'm going back to the receiving props. I feel like Shakir was my guy last week. Catch that 50 yards. He did that. I'm coming back into here. I'm going to go to the slip, and I'm going to go this time to receptions. And I'm coming down here to the other wideout at Keon Coleman, who your son had picked, who just went dry last week. I believe had 1 catch, maybe none. I think this kid has to get involved in over 1.5 catches. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you something, Brad. It has to be one of these 2 guys. It's got to be Cooper or Coleman. One of these guys is going to catch 3-4 balls. We know what's going to happen. I'm just taking Keon Coleman to go over 1.5. I like this play at minus 114. I'm not giving up a lot to the house. It gives me just enough of what I need. I'm going to probably put a half unit on it, so it'll be like 28 for 25.
Fair. That's fair. I got one
Okay.
prop play.
Okay.
I like over rushing on both the quarterbacks. I think they're going to both lay it out on the line. This is the kind of game where Mahomes will get out and run to keep the chains moving. And we know Josh Allen. If they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, Josh Allen's got to go get it with his feet as much as he does with his arms. So I like parlaying both overs rushing for the quarterbacks.
Okay, so I came into rushing props, top bar there, come over here, come into Josh Allen, and he's going, you want yardage? You want over 27 and over 24?
Rushing yards, yeah, over for Josh Allen's 47 and a half, and
Yep,
Mahomes
24.
is 24 and a half.
Okay.
So
And then,
I'm getting they're going to both lay it on the line to win this game. Mahomes, in these kind of games, he's going to get out of the pocket. He's going to run if that's what it's going to take to keep the chains moving. And Josh Allen has to have a couple of nice runs in order to pull this upset off. So that's where I'm at with it.
okay. All right, well, we're at that point in the show where we could wrap it up, but the show is not called Less Talk, More Action for no reason at all. So we're going to give you one final piece of action. And that's going to be, we're going to build you a same game parlay touchdown, because that's what everybody and their mother loves to do here in Illinois. Got to have same game parlay touchdown scores. So we're going to go give you a 4-leg same game touchdown score parlay using both games. So here we go. Are you ready? Yes, we've got it. Look at this. Hey, you have only wagered 0 in the last 90 minutes. Please place a bet, Trevor. Please.
I like that it says reality check. I could use that. I need that to pop up in my life about 20 times a day.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're getting to the second half. Yeah, the second half's already started. Darn it. I told you I'd have us out of here. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Let's wrap this thing up. All right. Who, if we're going to go on this, I mean, minus 280 on Saquon Barkley. Ugh. Yuck. Gulp. Yuck. So I don't know. You got one guy, two guys that gets in the end zone?
I say AJ Brown is freaking due, man. He is too good of a player to be shut out like he's been.
I agree.
Like him. He's plus points. So
I agree. And if I'm going to go anywhere, Zacchaeus has popped up with an injury. I do think this game gets higher scoring. I think both games can be higher scoring. I either want Zach Ertz or I want Austin Eckler. I'm just telling you guys, when you're building this out again, use a dummy account. I would try to incorporate, I do a couple same game parlay touchdown guys just to have the extra entertainment and fun. But what I'm trying to show you is I build out with one or the other. In this situation, Ertz, he's going back to Philly. He seems to be a guy that's been targeted frequently by Daniels. You're already at 6-1 on this line, but we ain't stopping there, baby, because this is Less Talk, More Action. And the more action we have, the more entertainment and more fun we have. So 5:30, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. We're got a good bottle of Woodford Reserve going, and or Maker's Mark, something to that effect. All right, where are you going here? Who's scoring?
Give me a Kareem Hunt. He's the goal line back. You know, they're going to be down there at least a couple times. So give me Kareem Hunt for sure.
Okay. Again, I'm of the this is odd, but it's got to happen. Somebody on the Chiefs other than other than Travis Kelce has to catch a touchdown. So I'm going to be looking at either Xavier Worthy or I'm looking at Hollywood Brown. I know DeAndre Hopkins is down here too. This is the toughest problem you have with this game is when you're trying to do this with all these guys, any one of these guys could hit. Marquise Brown over under in receiving was 40 yards. I loved it. I didn't bring it up earlier in the show. I don't know, Brad. Is there a place you think here? Or, if you think the Bills can get anywhere near it and you go with the Keon Coleman thing, my heart is telling me that the Chiefs finally got to do something through the air and Marquise Brown's got to get involved.
I'm with you. I just had an epiphany though when you pull up Noah Gray at plus 500. These are the kind of guys that score in these games, man.
100%.
The one nobody's looking at, and he's plus 5. You put a little drip of water on him, boy, it's going to be a gusher if he hits.
I know. And he's not much different than this. So I guess here's what we're going to tell you guys is we're trying to just help you construct this. And what Brad's trying to tell you is when you get to these championship games, it's not the favorites that always get in the end zone. It's not always the Travis Kelce's, and it's not going to be the Josh Allen that's going to run it. He probably will get one and run one in. But what I'm saying is usually these games there's some sort of alternative universe that they go into during the game, and we end up getting some wild stuff that happens and some weird dudes that score. So if we threw some together, A.J. Brown, Zach Ertz, Kareem Hunt, Marquise Brown, or I would be going Xavier Worthy, 5 for a return of 345. But again, these are fun. These are for like 1/10 of a unit. That's all we're doing. So if the unit's $50, you're $5. That's it. These are for fun. You do maybe 2 or 3 because it's late on a Sunday and you want to have a good time. This is a great way to have a good time, but you got to be responsible. And the thing is, that's what we preach here. So if you want the action, do it accordingly. But for us, we'll probably play 3 or 4 of these, build them out. But, A.J. Brown, Smith, Ertz, even all the tight ends would be worth a shot. Ertz,
Yeah.
Goddard, Kelce, Kincaid, a 4 tight end, teaser as a, who knows? It could be all the tight ends that get in. That would be a huge payday too. So, Brad, I kind of like what we constructed here. It's not the normal, and that's why I like it, because the abnormal happens in the championship games.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Have fun with it, though, man. Have fun with it, and just know there's 2 weeks left. So have some fun. Get your chili going. Sit around with your family. Drink your Woodford Reserve or your freaking Bush Light, whatever
Maker's
you
Mark.
got on. Maker's Mark, whatever you're doing. But just have fun with it, knowing that after this one and the next one, man, what do we got, like 6-7 month off season? I mean, we do get the drafts in April, but it's a long time till they kick off again.
Yeah, but we will be on the air with these podcasts, giving you the March Madness breakdown as we get into tournament time in the middle of March. And we can't wait because Brad and I and the families and the friends have already discussed a trip to the Pfizer Forum for the regional finals in Milwaukee for March Madness. So trust us. Yeah, we're already ready for that. But in the meantime, we have some money to make this weekend on the championship game. So we want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. Again, you can catch us at letstalkmoreaction.live, Let's Talk More Action 1 on TikTok, and Let's Talk More Action at YouTube. For your host, Trevor Lutke, that is Brad Shoulders. Good luck to all your plays, and may everything be live and be winners. Later.